All right, let's take a look at the very first activity in Unit 4. Unit 4 involves solving equations that have one variable, so a little different from our linear equation unit that we just finished. The way we are going to launch this unit is with solving equations, is we're going to start off with something called hands-on equations, or in 7th grade, if you were a middle school student here last year, you used pouches and coins. The idea is these little pawns or triangle shapes are an unknown value. The squares with a number tells you obviously what number is in that square. So we know on this very first slide that this pawn plus this pawn have to equal 10. So something plus something equals 10. Now the idea is, well, what is it? What plus what equals 10? Because the pawns are exactly the same, they have to be the same number. So naturally, we can take each of these, split this 10 evenly. So 10 divided by 2 should give us 5. We can come over here and check our answer. When we hit submit, we get clappy hands. Good job. There we go. On each screen, as usual, you have the calculator icon that you're able to use. Keep in mind, if you decide to show your work in the calculator, do not delete it. I can still see your work from my teacher screen. But let's come in here now. This slide compared to the one before, we know on the right side we have a square that has a 9 in it. So we know there are 9 total. On this side, we know we have something plus 2 equals 9. Now, the idea is, and some people automatically can say, hey, obviously 7 plus 2 is 9. But the way we need to think about solving equations is using what are called inverse operations. Inverse means opposite. So the opposite of the operation we see this addition symbol here. The inverse of addition is subtraction. So to undo this plus 2, we would be subtracting 2. The rule with equations is whatever I do on one side, I have to do on the other. The reason we do that is to negate this, so that all we're left with here is this pawn. And then when I do the same thing on this side, 9 minus 2, that becomes 7. So our answer should be 7. And we get a good job. Same thing here. All right, so I know the total has to equal 7. So I know that something plus 3 equals 7. So if I take this 3 off, if I take it off here, I have to take it off on this side. 7 minus 3, so now I know that this has to equal 4. So something plus something equals 4. Well, take these 4, divide them evenly into the 2. 4 divided by 2 is going to give me 2. Let's check it and see if we're right. Yay us. Now look at what we've got going on. Now we've got something plus 8 has to equal 3 of that same something. So on the other ones, we knew what we needed to take off of both sides because we had numbers on both sides. But now the only thing we have that's the same on both sides are the pawns. So instead of removing a number, let's remove a pawn. So if I take this pawn off of the left side, the rule is whatever I take off of one side, I have to take off the other. So if I take the pawn off the left, I have to take a pawn off of the right. So now I know that the total number on the left side has to be 8. And I know that those 8 have to be split into the 2 pawns. So if I take that 8, split it into 2, I should get 4. Let's check it and see if we're right. Yay, us. All right, so that's the main idea of this activity. Go ahead and give it a try. Remember, I do need to see some kind of thinking on each of your slides, either on the sketch pad or in your calculator. A couple slides that will ask you to explain your thinking. And then lastly, when you get to the very last slide of this activity, we have this problem here where Jay doesn't want to turn in the wrong work and answer. He wants somebody to check his work. So he worked it out. He even explained on the screen what he did on each side. You've got 3 questions to respond to. First, did he get the problem correct? Do this problem, is it correct? Don't necessarily trust his work. Second, explain how we said if he was right or wrong. Tell how you know. And lastly, if he did do it wrong, What mistake did he make and what would the correct answer be? So you can write right on here. You can add information into this box. And then when you're finished, go back into Echo. It'll tell you what you need to turn in. Happy solving.